Welcome to a special live edition of the Sophisticated Marketers Podcast. We're kicking off the next season, season 7. I'd like to introduce a singer-songwriter that I saw recently here in London, completely blew my mind, and she was kind enough to come by and talk to us and play some music for us. So with no further ado, please welcome Anna Pancaldi.
Drumming, we're in line. There's armies of a shaking, heavy-hearted. You're mistaken, I will live without him. 'Cause everybody tired, everybody busy. Only got time to stop and stare. And everybody tired, everybody busy. You know they're forgetting. They're forgetting, so run away, run away, run away. I said run away like the rest. And find a way, find a way, find a way. For there has been so much loss. And we don't need this, we don't need this, we don't need this now. So run away, run away, run away. Passers by gaze a while and then fall to one side. They have a choice. There's armies of a shaking, heavy hearts say you're mistaken, I will live without him. 'Cause everybody tired, everybody busy. Only got time to stop and stare. And everybody tired, everybody busy. You know they're forgetting, they're forgetting. So run away, run away, run away. I said run away like the rest. And find a way, find a way, find a way. For there has been so much loss. And we don't need this, we don't need this, we don't need this now. So run away, run away, run away. We bear two bones, but they say not past the skin. We bear two bones, but they say not past the skin. Everybody tired, everybody busy. Only got time to stop and stare. And everybody tired, everybody busy. You know they're forgetting, they're forgetting. So run away, run away, run away. I said run away like the rest. And find a way, find a way, find a way. For there has been so much loss. We don't need this, we don't need this, we don't need this now. So run away, run away, run away. Said run away, run away.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us. The reason, so I discovered you, I was at a show. Everyone who knows me, listens to the program, knows I go to a lot of shows. And you were opening for Hooverphonic, who is a band that I've loved. And they had one UK date, I think, or one London date. And you opened up, and I was kind of in the back sitting there like, oh, the opening act, acoustic, we'll see what this is about. And you played that song, and there was like, I just turned up, I looked, there was like 3 choruses in that song. And it just, I was like, this is one of the most remarkable songs I've ever heard. I went straight up to the front, watched the entire set, was completely blown away. And I think I came home and I found it on Spotify, was listening to it. And it's a kind of a haunting, dark song. Can you talk a little bit about what the meaning of the song is? And I guess there's a story that I can interpret that something's wrong. But Do you leave it open for interpretation, or can you just talk a little bit about what the song is about?
Yeah, well, thank you for that lovely introduction. And yeah, I think, I mean, Runaway, like many of my songs, are sort of, yeah, they're all quite dark, actually. Definitely stay in that dark grey, very, very black area. And I'd written it really specifically kind of aimed at just a certain time in my life where kind of for me, my life had, you know, stopped at a standstill. And I kind of felt like everyone was just rushing alongside me, and kind of that struggle of feeling like everyone was kind of running away and carrying along with their life when I've been presented with this certain life event that kind of had just, yeah, you know, caused everything just to stop. And the sort of difficulty in dealing with that at the time.
And I'm assuming when you write a song, I think this is really interesting and a great lesson for marketers here, is that we're all, I guess everyone in the world is trying to tell better stories, and with around social and, you know, whatever video we're shooting, these little moments, we're always trying to tell better stories. And I thought, how incredible would it be to get like some lessons from someone, a singer-songwriter like yourself, who basically can tell a story in 3 minutes or less. So how do you approach your, let me ask you this, what was the first song you ever wrote?
The first song I ever wrote, I was about 12 years old. I'd moved to Cape Town, South Africa with my family. And I was such an emo at that age, actually. I thought my life was really bad. So my first song was called Do You Know What It's Like to Be Me? Which I just thought, God, what a brat. And yeah, and I wrote that. We lived in a little place called Hout Bay, and I'd sort of sat on the beach with my teeny weeny guitar, which sort of is more for sort of like a 5-year-old starting to learn to play the guitar in school, and wrote that song. And that was kind of my introduction to songwriting. Life wasn't very difficult then at all. But yeah, and then sort of moving on to kind of proper songwriting, I think it's, for me actually, the songwriting part of my career took a long time to develop. It wasn't something that I found really, really easy. I'd spent a long time prior to that sort of dealing with really bad stage fright and crying on stage, which was awkward for everyone to watch. And after dealing with that, I kind of started singing a lot of covers, and I kind of had gotten stuck in a bit of a rut. So although I'd, you know, had first written that song when I was quite young, really only at the age of 19 did I start properly delving into writing. And I think at that time I really had so much to say. So for me, it kind of wasn't difficult, you know, finding the stories in inverted commas. What I found more difficult was trying to hold it in within, you know, 3.5 minutes. And but often for me, I've really, with having something to say, started with the lyrics and making sure that, you know, that there's a message in what you're saying and building things around that. But sometimes I just sit on the tube and just sing something into my voice memos, or I was on a jog the other day and had a little idea and just pop that down. So it can be really random. You know, it doesn't always happen in the same way. It's kind of quite magical like that.
Have you ever lost an idea that maybe you
All
had
the
a great
time.
idea? Like there's a Seinfeld episode, I'm a huge Seinfeld fan, where he wakes up in the middle of the night and he scribbles down this idea for a joke. And then he wakes up in the morning and he can't read it, and he takes it around to all his friends to try to interpret, and everyone has a different interpretation of it. Have you lost an idea that you really, like, that you never found again?
Yeah, I have a really bad memory actually. So I've lost many ideas over the years, and sometimes it's just a couple of notes that you're like, that's a hook. But if I don't have a phone near me, then they go, which is very, very frustrating at times. But I think, you know, it's not too difficult to sit down at another time and come up with something else. I kind of often have a lot of little ideas going around in my head that you build on, and some of those ideas I've had years ago and kind of forgotten about them, and then they've ended up being a part of new songs, which I think is always really interesting, how little moments like that can stick with you and they don't fit for what you originally were writing them and using them for, and then you put them in with something else and it just clicks and makes sense.
How do you know when the story is too much, when it's too long? I mean, you keep your songs to a certain, is there like sort of a limit that you set to yourself on song length? And does that affect the amount that you can kind of convey?
Yeah, I try not to do too much in that writing process, because I think it's really easy when you're writing to, you sort of feel like often you're trying to please a lot of people, and whether that's kind of, you know, industry or your fans. And so as far as with writing, I really try and not think about anything else other than the music, and definitely not time sort of the length of song. And mine have varied quite a bit actually. I've got some 3.5 minuters, but there's one track that I wrote called Brother, which is 5 minutes, and that needed to be all of the 5 minutes that it was, and I really couldn't shorten that. It would have lost a really important part of it. So, but you can't have too many of those. Although Ben Howard's great, he's always doing like 7-8 minute songs now.
And are they always personal stories about you, or do they come from just other experiences? Is it just something that happens to you in life?
For me, it's been all about my experiences. So kind of writing about someone else's will be something else I'll probably delve into later. But just a lot's happened. So I've just I have a lot of, you know, you can sort of have one sort of thing happen to you, but there's many different ways in which you can look at that thing in different perspectives. And so, you know, many of my songs have been written about something quite similar, but it's just writing about it in different ways depending on whether I'm feeling happy or sad or angry or, you know, reminiscent or nostalgic. It changes.
Back in my music industry days, I spent a little bit of time with some singer-songwriters, and I found that one of them carried around a rhyming dictionary in their bag. Is this a tool of the trade?
That's very cool. I didn't know they existed. But I do often use Rhyme Zone for a little, you know, if I can't think of what rhymes with me, you know, I'll check that out.
What's Rhyme Zone?
So basically, you just pop in the word, and if you're sort of stuck with things that you might want to rhyme that word with, it just pops out. Usually ridiculous, Rhyme Zone, but sort of words that you just wouldn't want to use, like, you know, Prozac or sheep, or, you know, just a word that you would never find in a song ever.
And so with the I guess the way the music industry has sort of transformed, a lot of musicians, including yourself, I think you do a really good job marketing yourself. How much time do you spend thinking about your image and actually, you know, rolling up your sleeves and marketing yourself in this day and age?
Yeah, a lot. I think it's really important, well, it's imperative, in fact, that you have an image and try and have something that people can remember you by. It isn't, you know, it's no longer just about the music and how you sound, which, you know, which is fine. And I think a lot of artists have kind of grappled with that over the years, with having to divide up so much more of your time with doing things on social media. But for me, they're brilliant platforms, many of which I use, and which, you know, are constantly changing and giving you different ways to access a fan base, and people have, you know, different things that they like to look at and different kinds of content. But I don't really think that, well, you know, I think you have to, there's a very privileged few that can have sort of successful careers without using those sort of tools. And
you do a lot of video. I notice you do a lot of video whenever you're on tour, and there are always little snippets in here and there. I think a lot of people don't like being on video. I think they're a little bit self-conscious. And you just kind of, it seems like wherever you're at, you just make it happen. Any advice for someone who wants to, I guess, do more video or just capture moments without worrying about what people think about?
Yeah, I think you just have to go for it and not, you know, sometimes like I have my makeup on and I feel like, yeah, I can do a video now and it all looks great. But like, for instance, last night I was in my jogging gear and had no makeup on, but my music video is coming out today and Clash are premiering that, which is great. And I just thought, well, you've just got to get on with it. It's fine. You know, it's all right to do some things without makeup sometimes. And but I think it's more sort of a habitual thing. It's sort of like something that I schedule in as long as it's interesting, and just it's important to keep people involved with what you're doing. And it's not just, you know, fans, it's other artists that are, you know, further down the ladder than you. And I've definitely looked at many other artists' profiles to see what they're doing to try and, you know, get inspiration. But it is hard to be confident in front of a camera. So just practicing is really important. I mean, I'm a bit of an over-chatter, probably an oversharer, so it's not something I struggle with. But when I did have stage fright and all of those things, like for me, a small thing was I couldn't stand that guitar and hold my hands up or whatever. and I find that really awkward. But for people to watch, it looks quite weird watching someone sing and just have their hands down at the side. So I would have to, I'd just stare at myself in the mirror and sing along. And while I was driving in the car, just one hand, just lift that off and just try and copy a Mariah Carey thing. It sounds silly, but doing things like that and repeating that made it feel less stupid. So just practice. Yeah.
Can you talk about? Do you ever get writer's block, and what's your cure?
Yes, I definitely do. And I think the really important thing with writer's block is finding good ways of dealing with it. So for most of my career, I kind of end up going into self-deprecation mode. I'm like, I'm never going to write a good song again. My career's over. And for the first time, actually, I've just recently come out of one, and I've been reading this brilliant book called Big Magic, and they discuss all of that. And actually, we were just sort of talking about how you'll have a period of time where you just can't make the lyrics and the song and everything fit, and just to have a little break from it is important, not too long. But then I think the thing that can make a writer's block go on for longer is that we spend a lot of time just going like, I'm rubbish and this is the end of me, which is just a waste of time and a distraction from what you need to do, which is, rather just go and immerse yourself in seeing other people's music and going to shows and, listening to podcasts and just trying to feed your sort of musical intelligence in another way. But you always come out of it. I don't believe that anyone gets stuck in it forever. You just sometimes have to come in at it at a different angle.
Do you consider yourself a perfectionist? Because I hear you strip down acoustic here, but when I listen to the music, there's so many little intricate production elements. There's harmonies and background vocals, and it's interesting. I mean, I don't know if this is deliberate or not, but you can actually hear your hands sliding up and down the guitar at times, and it's not like you're hiding anything, but you also have so much behind it. Are you a perfectionist, and does that affect the way you market yourself?
Yeah, I am a perfectionist because, for me, this is my life, and it's really important how you choose to portray yourself, and I do want everything to sound perfect. You spend such a long time, sort of being hidden away, writing music and doing all the online marketing, and so when that piece of music has been recorded and it's ready to share with the world, I just think it just needs to be. For me, it's not even kind of wanting it to be, it just has to be to do the music justice and for your fans to hear it in the best way possible.
Got it. Can you play another song for us, and we'll get back. I want to talk about your video, and I want to talk about the shift to electric.
So yeah, this is a track of mine called Promise We'll Never Grow Old, which I wrote about kind of the importance of trying to keep that mentality of being a child at heart forever, because that's the kind of thing that pushes us to do the things we're most afraid of and most scared of, but they're the things that fulfill us the most. And it's just easy to grow up and get cynical, and no one needs that. Promise we'll never grow up, and the stars will align our way forth. 'Cause I can't bear the thought of you facing it alone without me. Let us vow to guard our youth, this treasure, all this hope but don't value. With all our sides taught how precious these moments truly are. For you've loved and you've lost too many a thing, but we'll keep him guided always. And up here, no one can harm us. And up here,
you see, there is no way we can lose out. For you've loved and you've lost too many a thing, but we'll keep and get it always. And up here, no one can harm us. And up here, forever young now. Promise we'll never grow old. Ooh, up here, no one can harm us. And up here, forever young now. Promise we'll never grow old. Promise we'll never, promise we'll never, promise we'll never, promise we'll never grow
Thank you.
Wow, unbelievable. How did you first know when you could sing like that? Because I try to sing like that at home, and it never comes out. I think I'm really good. I'm like, man, I'm hitting those notes, and it never. I mean, are you born with that, or how did you know when you could sing like that? Because that is Buckley-esque. That is magical.
Oh, thank you. I love him so much. And my manager actually knew him, so I was just like, oh my gosh. Anyway, thank you. My dad's an amazing singer, so I always like to say that I got my voice from my dad. And weirdly, I don't really feel like there ever was a moment that I kind of discovered it. I think I've just been singing for such a long time, and yeah, it's kind of weird. I got asked the same question the other day. I think there was more sort of a moment when I just realised that I needed to spend the rest of my life doing this, and I wanted to make it a career and really focus myself towards that point. But you kind of get used to hearing yourself. When I was at school, my classmates just used to get quite annoyed because I just sang all the time. So they were like, Anna, we're trying to learn here. So yeah.
Do you sing karaoke too? Do you just go out there, or do you avoid that altogether?
I've done it once.
Yeah, what was the song?
And it was only last year. Well, no, there were multiple songs. It was for my friend's hen do. And actually I stayed sober and let them get really smashed, and then I just sang at the end. I started off singing badly, but then I was like, this is quite fun actually, being able to sing Whitney Houston and just not sound good like her at all.
You know, I have speaking of Whitney Houston, a little bit off track, we could edit this out, but I have a 3.5-year-old daughter, and it's funny because I'm introducing her to Black Sabbath and Motorhead and all the greats, right? But I also wanted to see, like Whitney Houston, one of the biggest selling female artists of all time, what happens when she hears the Bodyguard soundtrack or Oh, I Want to Dance with Somebody? When she's never heard it before, what kind of reaction will I get out of her? So I'm looking for some Whitney Houston, the first record on the first release on vinyl, so I can introduce her to this, see what the reaction is. It's sort of a weird social experiment.
No, I think it's quite cool actually. You should film that. I kind of want to see her reaction to see whether she's totally blown away.
Because she'll tell me right away. It's like when I played, I played Guns N' Roses or something. Or I played Slayer. Daddy, I don't like this. It scares me.
Why are you playing this, Daddy? I'm clearly too young for this.
My go-to karaoke song. I open up with In Excess Need You Tonight. Bring it down a little bit, and I bring it back up.
For us now?
I could, if you're lucky. Then I go into Scissor Sisters.
Yep.
Take Your Mama Out. My mother blessed me with a very high Barry Gibb voice. that falsetto.
Beautiful.
And then I close out with Welcome to the Jungle, and then just tear it to shreds. So.
Brilliant. I love that you've got a little repertoire that you go to. Are you that guy that turns up at the karaoke like, here, I've got my CD already, let's get cracking?
I'm the guy up there saying, here's the 20, get me up next, right? Anyway, I'm not that guy. That guy's not
That guy.
Anyway, a couple of things I want to, obviously lots I want to talk about, but the Levi's thing is interesting. So can you talk about your partnership with Levi's? That was a huge success, and how did you get involved with it? What did you learn? I mean, how was the experience with that, with working with a brand?
Yeah, they were amazing actually. It really was quite an amazing experience. We got flown around to 4 countries in 5 days and just had to jet ski and skydive and paraglide and things. It was very lovely. But they had, the kind of connection to doing that really was kind of, when I first moved to London, I was nannying to pay the rent, and I got on with the family really well, and I kind of just kept in touch with them. And the dad was, they were filming it and, you know, sorting out all the creative content. So he just said, Levi's would like 4 non-models. He sort of said that in the most polite way possible and was like, do you want to audition? I was like, yes, please. And so we auditioned. So although we kind of had an in, we did have to properly audition, and they did make the final choice. And it was just absolutely brilliant. So we kind of filmed all of that. And then Jack sort of said, well, look, they're sort of taking music submissions. Do you want to write anything for it? So I was like, cool.
Did you write something specifically for them?
Yeah, so he just said, just write something and I'll send it to them. And so I was still nannying at the time, and I remembered finishing nannying, jumping on the train to go to my mate's studio, co-wrote the song, like recorded it all that evening and got the last train home. And
there goes the perfectionist angle,
and then,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a very bish bash bosh, get it out there track. But they listened to it and chose it. So not only did I kind of get to feature in this advert and have a lovely time, I then got to soundtrack it, which was just brilliant. And at the time, I kind of hadn't been in London for very long, and for me, that was such a brilliant piece of work to have in my repertoire, because it really sort of made people go like, oh, well, she must be all right. Like, they've seen the word Levi's. It's hard sometimes even just to get people to listen, and if there's something that they recognise, there's more of a chance of them doing that. And obviously with such a big brand, it's been hugely useful for me, and I think made people take me a bit more seriously, and got loads of lovely jeans.
Yeah? I did a gig. I did a speaking gig for Levi's in San Francisco.
Oh, did you?
And they gave me a gift card on the way out. It was the coolest thing ever. And they have a little shop there, and I bought a jean jacket. But I don't have anything except blue jeans, so I don't want to be like
double denim.
Yeah.
It's cool.
But
I like double denim.
Now, right?
It's totally in. Just do it. I did triple denim the other day. I was just like, whatever. If people don't like it, no one cares.
But they also have the world's oldest pair of jeans on display there.
Do they?
Yeah.
How old are they?
And they didn't even own them. They're really old.
Have they washed them? That's actually what I really want to know.
They didn't look like they look like something happened in those jeans. It's unspeakable. But they're sitting there, and apparently they didn't own them. They had to buy them for like $150,000 or something.
Wow.
But it's astonishing tales of marketing right there. So, how you find time to be an entrepreneur as well, and you have your own gin, which is fascinating to me. Can you talk a little bit about that? Where did that come about? And you were like, when I mentioned this over there, you get really excited when we talk about gin.
I love gin so much. So that's kind of where it started from, the fact that I love gin, and I've kind of got lots of the standard merch that you're expected to have, but I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different. And actually, I was just chatting to a friend of mine, and he was like, well, we know this great gin distillery up in Yorkshire. You should, let's chat to them. And and basically just ended up making this infusion for me. So it's called Joe's Gin after my brother, because it's an elderflower infusion, and he used to make us elderflower cordial when we were children. So I was like, well, now we're grown up enough, let's just slip a bit of gin in there as well. And and again, it's sort of, other people have discovered me in a different way by kind of being able to, I didn't use it on purposefully for a marketing tool, but it kind of, as a byproduct, did end up being like that. And it's just a cool talking subject. Lots of people ask me about it, and it is very tasty. I promise.
And so how does that work with the brand? How does that work into the Anna Pancaldi brand? I guess you have the gin, you have the music. How do you tie it together?
Well, I just think that, you know, as artists are moving forward now, people are having to get more creative and be more interesting in order to kind of catch people's attention. You know, we just have so much of everything around us and there is so much content. So it's also trying to find something that kind of cuts through. I know lots of bands do their own beer and all of that. And
I drink Megadeth coffee.
You what?
Megadeth has their own coffee, Dave Elves.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Is it really nice?
Oh, it's not bad, yeah.
What do you get? Is it like the beans or is it ground?
No, you can get beans or
is
ground.
Is it instant? Joking.
Not me just insulting Megadeth.
No, right. Sorry, Megadeth. I didn't mean anything by that whatsoever. That's cool though. I didn't know about that.
But where can we find the gin, by the way?
So it's just being remade by a new company. So I just
so it's
sampled
batch
it
by batch, huh?
last weekend. I sampled the new delicious, delightful flavour. So yeah, I'm on tour. So it's always with me on tour.
Speaking of touring, I know you have a new single that just came out, which is your venture into the world of electric. This is the first time you've picked up an electric guitar, and we're not talking Megadeth electric. We're talking
maybe
electric,
later.
Sort of. There's an artist named Arid. Do you know Arid? Do you remember this artist from the '90s?
No,
Anyway,
no, I don't think so.
Edit that out, please. I was waiting for that aha moment, like, you're the only other person who knows this artist.
Sorry.
And, should have prepped on that. Anyway, so can you talk about, I mean, because I remember there's the legendary story, I think I was talking to someone earlier about this today, where Bob Dylan switched to electric guitar from acoustic, and he did, I think it was at Royal Albert, wasn't it? Where he got booed off stage?
Yes,
because
it was.
the fans just were like, we are not having this, we want Bob Dylan
What
acoustic.
are you doing?
Yes, what have you done? And, 30 years later, he was transformative. He was, he was pushing the back. He was doing something so unique and becoming himself. So it was the evolution of Bob Dylan. So how do you think about? Was it a difficult choice to introduce this new sort of evolution of your songs into your audience? Did you think they would freak out?
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm all for being honest. I kind of, it took me a long time to get into the idea of sort of writing some slightly different sounding songs, but not taking things to a totally different genre. But I kind of liked the way I did things. So when my manager was like, but you can just, write something a bit more different. And I was like, a bit more different? Wow, I went to school. And I really struggled with that actually, because I didn't really want to. So I sort of had a long period of thinking about it. And then eventually, later down the line, started writing some songs naturally that sounded a bit different that I really liked. And then it just so happened that it fitted on, to playing it with the electric guitar. But I just had to come round to that idea myself. And now, actually, I'm really excited about this new sound and sort of, just sonically how it just is taking it to a different place. And I've had a lovely reaction so far from it, which is great, because yes, there is that fear that people kind of, sometimes people do just want what they've heard before. Like not everybody wants everyone to completely transform themselves, but yeah, they've been great.
Well, it's interesting because it adds a whole new dynamic to the sound. It's like it's atmospheric. It adds a lot of depth to a whole new sonic landscape, if you will, to the song. So it's a different sound, but your vocals are still very present and cut through. So it works, but it's a whole different sound than what I was used to when I heard it. So I was pleasantly surprised.
Thank you.
Good.
Good.
Can you play another song for me? I know you can't play that because you don't
Sorry,
have
I've got a problem with
electric.
my pickup and my electric.
But can you give us one more song, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about touring and just a few fun questions, and then we'll wrap it up with a little bit of an encore. Cool?
Awesome sauce.
I have this crystal vision built with such precision. Am I enough? Am I enough? And all these thoughts that grab on my mind tell me that I am never enough. Oh, I'm never enough. Won't you teach me how to rewrite the lines? Won't you teach me how to rewrite the lines? And over my heart, and over my head, 'cause the spirit heart needs to forget. See, all that I am is all that I give, and I give to you, I give to you, I give to you. It won't overcome me, but it's omnivide me, 'cause I'll be enough. Said I'll be enough, and soon I will discover it's possible for me to be enough, to be enough. Won't you teach me how to rewrite the lines? Won't you teach me how to rewrite the lines? And over my heart, and over my head, 'cause the spirit heart needs to forget. See, all that I am is all that I give, and I give to you, I give to you, I give to you. You know what I need, you know what I need. You know what I need, you know what I need. And over my heart, and over my head, 'cause the spirit heart needs to forget. See, all that I am, is all that I give, and I give to you, I give to you, I give to you. See, all that I am is all that I give to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much.
What was that song about? I'm going to give you my interpretation.
Yes.
There's
tell me.
is there some yearning happening there?
Some yearnage.
Yes.
There is.
There's a struggle, but there's a I'll get to you. Like you're going to show them. There's a revenge aspect too.
Oh, great
Am I
voice.
close?
I love these little singbacks. They're great.
I'm trying to impress you.
Yeah, no, there is. I wrote that song during a time of struggling with the writer's block, and just sort of, I think the creative industry it's such a, it's a wonderful thing to be a part of, but it's also really, really tough, and like I often kind of describe it, I mean, it's calling it a startup maybe is unfair, but it is a business, and you're having to, link that in with being a creative, and it is competitive, and just at that time I was just struggling with feeling like I just wasn't a good enough singer or writer, and the frustration in feeling that when you're pouring your all into something and just wanting to feel good about yourself.
And there's a certain emotional connection. I mean, I think everyone in the room probably got some sort of like chill when you hit some of those notes and were really singing your heart out. What's the emotional connection, and how do you know when you've hit that with the audience?
Well, I wasn't actually looking at you guys, so I wouldn't have been able to get that off of facial recognition. I don't know. I think the most important thing really is that the songs that you're writing and performing, you absolutely believe in, and they really mean something to you. I mean, I think for an audience, that's kind of what an audience feeds off. And if you're kind of just writing generic songs for a certain purpose or whatever, people can sense that, and so for me, that's really what it comes back to. And And then obviously when I'm out on tour and people are lovely enough to come up and say hi afterwards and tell me, that's what I prefer. Just a straight out, like that one, didn't like that, that was cool. But yeah.
Do people really say they don't like a song?
No, they haven't done that yet, no.
What's it like being an entrepreneur? What's your experience been like?
Yeah, I think it was a shock. When I first moved to London, but prior to that, I'd been away travelling for 9 months around the world, and I kind of had this moment where I was like, right, if this is what I'm going to do, I need to pour my everything into it. And so I went away for 9 months to write songs and travel around the world and perform them and get used to, you know, trying to build up a bit of just some presence on stage and just to feel comfortable. And then moving to London, I was just feeling just very inspired and exhilarated and ready to get going. But I found it, quite tricky, sort of immersing myself into the industry because prior to that I'd really just been a creator and a singer, and then suddenly kind of going to networking nights and turning up on your own and going to shows and having to suddenly be really confident and to present yourself and know who you are and what you want. And that became more comfortable over time, but really kind of educating myself on the business and understanding how all the different parts worked and kind of what my rights were the things that kind of made me feel more comfortable in those settings. And, you know, and I think then as time goes on, it's more sort of trying to find the way of dividing up your time so that it kind of doesn't take over the creative part. But I do have an agent and manager and other people around me now, so that's sort of helping to relieve some of it. But I think as a new artist, it's really scary. I remember the first networking event I went to and just met this horrible female music lawyer that just obviously assumed that I was rubbish because I didn't have a label or a manager, and she was just really snooty. And it's really hard being in in those environments anyway, and then kind of being met with that. You know, you just have to pick yourself back up and just carry on and believe in what you're doing. But it is a shock, but I've gotten more used to it now. But knowing what you're a part of and empowering yourself in that way is the only way that it kind of becomes easier. And I've met amazing people along the way, and made some amazing friends in the industry too, and kind of learnt from watching other artists, just seeing how talent, having talent, but also being really friendly and kind and honest, how far that also got them. Just not being a loser and not, thinking you're incredible and being rude to people, and which, does happen, but it doesn't really get you anywhere. And the industry is very, very small, so you can't really afford to be like that. And I think when you're also very passionate about what you're doing, people kind of pick up on that and they want to be a part of it. And that's kind of been my experience as well.
You have a new video coming for the song as well, coming tomorrow, right?
Today,
congratulations.
Waiting for Clash to push it on out so I can promote.
I've seen the teasers around it, but can you talk a little bit about how important the video is to your image? I mean, the music videos seem to be a thing of the past for a lot of artists, but the ones who can do them really well, and your videos are not just you sitting there playing guitar, they're really well done. The lighting, everything. There's concepts behind them. So can you talk a little bit about how you approach the music video in today's disrupted world?
Yeah, so for me, music videos are still really important. I think it comes as a part of the package. When you listen to a song and you really like it, you want to go somewhere further to see more of what that artist is about. Like visually what they look like. You are always interested in that. But to also see more of the story and more of the journey. And sometimes my music videos have followed a storyline. The new music video doesn't. There's just a lot of flashing lights and me. I had to also practice that sort of moving around quite a lot with the electric guitar, because I normally just stand up and stand still. So that was another little learning block. But yeah, I think people aren't always necessarily watching videos as much, but there's absolutely a place for them. And I personally love watching music videos and seeing that other creative side of the artist. It's kind of multifaceted in that way. And for this new track, I really wanted it to really sort of be about showcasing the song with it being in this new genre. So I kind of didn't want to have too much of a conflict with a storyline within it. But I also love making the music videos. It's a really exciting part too. Again, you've spent a lot of time hiding away writing, and it's something that you get to create with people, and their memories for yourself as an artist as well, and seeing the progression throughout your career. But yeah, people should not stop making them, and people like to share videos. It's great listening to things on streaming services, and obviously they're really important, but I also think that people are more likely to share a video, and you can speak more of a message through that. Like Childish Gambino's amazing new song that's had, I don't know, nearly 300 million streams. It's a very graphic music video, sort of about the state of America, really, but it's really powerful, and artists have a really a lucky platform, a place in which they can express things and speak out about things, and so it's we must use that too.
I talk a lot about the importance of video, and I think a lot of us forget. Video is there if you have something to show. You can't just be a talking head all the time. So it's interesting to see your take on that. And sometimes it needs a story. Sometimes the visual aspect carries it. But there has to be something to show. There has to be a visual element to that. I want to wrap up. I know we're running out of time, but a little bit about touring. You've toured all over the world. You ever had a Spinal Tap moment on tour?
I'm pretty tame. I have toured in a lot of places, but I don't have loads of wild stories actually. I'm quite calm, really.
Ever been stuck backstage and couldn't find the stage door, and you're running around in the basement somewhere?
No, I've not had that. I just generally getting lost. I'm quite good at doing that, and no, loads of things happen actually. My memory's also really bad. I'm 29, that's my real age, and I'm quite concerned about where I'm going to be in 10 years as far as memory goes. But no, I've fallen over. I've knocked my teeth on the microphone so loudly that everyone's noticed and burst out laughing at me during my own song, which, special moments like that.
But not in Germany.
Not in Germany. I just talk about it now. But I love touring, and for me, that connection with an audience really is my favourite part. And I know I've touched on sort of, as an artist, it's quite reclusive in a way, and you have to be quite introverted. And so, with everything that you do on the internet and everything that's online, when you're out on tour, that's where you truly get to see if it is actually connecting with people, and you get to see people's faces and chat to people. And those people that actually want to pay money and give up their night to come and watch you, it's quite different sometimes to those that want to just sort of listen to you online. And I love singing, so yeah, just come back from a month in Germany, and it's my ideal.
Most unusual place you've ever performed?
Ooh, I've sung in quite a lot of living rooms. I really want to do a gig in a tree house. So I know you're asking about ones, that I've already done, but that is a dream. I love tree houses so much. So that will be, it's not that weird, is it? It's just,
what's the capacity of an average tree house? 2?
Yeah, it's going to be really big. My friend
intimate.
does have one actually. I've done a gig, my mates, they have a moat around their house. That's quite nice. I've sung there. Sung on boats.
Is there water in the boat? Is there
there's water. It's like a
drawbridge?
beautiful old, gorgeous old house. They've also got a tree house. So the plan is that I'll stand on the tree house and we'll cover it with fairy lights and pretty things, and then in the forest everyone can sit down below.
You've already mapped this out, so this is happening.
It's going to happen.
This isn't I want to, this is happening.
No, it's going to happen. I think it will be this summer. There's been 2 years of trying to get the dates to work, but yeah. So that'll be the favourite. But yeah, I've all sorts. I've sung actually in an old age home, which was actually really lovely and quite random. But yeah, I've got a gran and I adore her, and it was really lovely actually to go in and spend time with some older folk that kind of, don't, necessarily have a lot of social interaction as they used to. And meaning that in the most polite way possible. Maybe we should just edit that out. Sung in an old age home.
Last question I have for you is, what's going on for the rest of 2018? I know that you have a very busy schedule. The new video, the new single. There's an EP coming later this year. What's on the horizon?
Yeah, so I'm quite excited for the last part of this year. I'm recording the next EP with an amazing producer called Matt Ingram that's worked with Laura Marling and many other artists that I really, really love. So yeah, that, and then a UK and a European tour, and then my management's based out in Los Angeles, so I've been spending quite a bit of time touring and writing over there. So I just got my O1 visa back for like the next year and a half, so yeah, I'll be heading back there after that.
Cool. And last bit of advice for connecting with your audience or your fans. How do you think about that? What's your advice for folks looking to connect to an audience?
So I think kind of connecting with an audience, you've kind of got to have people there that are watching you. So for me, the kind of way that I've built up everything on socials is, firstly by doing a lot of shows and touring a lot and playing a lot. And
consistency, right?
Yeah, consistency, and trying to be someone that people are interested in, so that they might want to watch my silly little videos online. They're not all silly, obviously I'm promoting my music, but trying to keep people engaged with what you're doing, and so and then it's kind of easier. And as long as you've always got, as long as you're you're on tour and you've got things going on, you've got lots to talk about. But initially building that up, you just got to put in the hard graft of many shows, and some of which you play to 2 people, and some are a lot more. But yeah, pushing on through that. If you wanted, you didn't ask about the worst gig, but I feel like because I didn't give you a very good answer to the weird venue places. I once did a gig in this venue, and I'm not even going to say where it was, but anyway, it wasn't what it was meant to be. And anyway, they didn't have a PA, so I turned up and they were like, cool, so here's a table of 25 people. They've all paid to have a 3-course meal. So I know we don't have microphones for you, but you just stand there and sing. So I did the first song, and I was like, dude, they can't hear me. This is so embarrassing. All I can hear is they're talking. It's knives and forks. Really embarrassing. Can we book it? No, let's just try in the other room. So, and then for the the next half an hour, I stood there, sort of getting in the way of people serving the fish and chips. I could hear the hand dryer going off in the bathroom, and then just to top it all off, the fire alarm started going off sort of intermittently. So instead of just calling it a night, they were like, no, the fire alarm's off now. It's fine. Just carry on. So I'd carry on, and literally about 6 times that alarm went off, and I was like, mate, I need to get drunk.
Awesome. Can you close us out with one more, please?
Come rest your head upon my knee. I'll sing just for you, just as I intended to. I picture you here right beside me. Stay ever so near, won't you, dear? But while you're far away and you don't feel so close, when you're far away, no. But when you come around, I'm gonna sing for you all the songs I wrote just for you. And when you come around, I'm gonna sing for you. You've not heard them through, and they're for you. These moments will come to pass, and there will be no need for make-believe. You really be here right beside me. Side by side I hear you speak, but while you're far away and when you don't feel so close, when you're far away now. But when you come around, you come around, I'm gonna sing for you all the songs I wrote just for you. And when you come around, you come around, I'm gonna sing for you. You've not heard them through, and they're for you. There'll be no more play pretend, 'cause you'll be here. There'll be no more make believe, 'cause you'll be here. And there'll be no more play pretend, 'cause you'll be here. And no more make believe, 'cause you'll be here. But when you come around, you come around, I'm gonna sing for you all the songs I wrote for you. Oh, and when you come around, you come around, I'm gonna sing for you. It's been so long and we need you. When will you come around? You come around. Won't you come around soon? It's been so long and we need you. When will you come around? You come around. Won't you come around soon? There's a lifetime still, a lifetime still, a lifetime still to live with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.